Will it work? Will it work? So let's see now. Come on. There we go. Okay, it looks like it flows a little bit better now. Looks pretty. Is it stable or is it bad? Is this moving or are we getting lag? Let me see if it is. Okay, it looks kind of stable. Hello, Russ. Well, it looks. Yeah, that looks way more stable. I know people are telling me not to stress, but I don't deal well with situations like that. And, I've had stuff like this happening live on stage, at events where technology and stuff has gone to hell. And afterwards, everybody says, like, oh, Jacob, you really did that well, you know? Everything went to hell and you just seemed so collected. And they have no idea. I'll run back to my hotel room and cry, and then I'll call the event planner and I'll scream at them like a fucking madman because I can't handle stuff like that. This is why I try to stay away from social gatherings and stuff. I don't handle stress well at all, even less since I got sober. So I'm sorry, everyone, if I don't seem very happy. I will in a few minutes because I've got my most favorite tea over here, and now the stream is working. So that makes Jake a not so dull boy. All work and no play makes me a very no. Wait. No internet makes me a very dull boy. Mm. Okay. There. I feel much more happy now. Can you see that? That's my big smile. All right. So, wait, what was the topic of today's stream? Um, yes, thank you, Lim, Lim. What is that username? Wait a minute, Limbic, Limbic. I'll call you. I'll call you Lim. That works. Tristan Green. So why am I here? I don't know, Tristan. Maybe because you were interested in the topic, and I actually had to look up the topic because I completely forgot because of the technical issues we had. So the topic was today. What I wanted to do is to basically tell everyone how I am almost never doing any type of hardware setups together with my iPad anymore because I'm so tired of all of the workarounds and the slow workflow and how stuff stops working for me. How sync isn't working. It's I don't know what shitty Swedish fish internet means, but that's great. I'm here to love you. Oh, that is so sweet. You have no idea how happy that makes me. Well, I'm here. I'm here because I love my audience. All right, and that's what That's why I like usually just showing you my best side, which I do on my main channel. And I'm scared to death, about having stuff like this happening because that always shows my bad side, which is not so attractive. Yeah, it's less attractive. I don't even know if the main thing I do on the main channel is attractive, but I think you know what I mean. What I'm trying to say is that who likes showing their bad sides? I mean, especially on YouTube. You do not want to. Then again, there are channels basically based off of showing your bad side. But that's not what I do, and that's not why my audience subscribes to me, I think. Uh, I mean, I'm not socially inept to that level where I think that I could just do anything on my channel. I mean, I understand that people are subscribing to me because I do have a very positive uh, thing going on, right? I mean, I like being positive, but I'm not positive all the time, and I'm sure that my audience is not either. So now I gotta find this again. Oh, is that it? Can I? No, that's the wrong one. I just want to find the stream so I can see all the everything you're typing because I'm having to look over here right now. Oh no, Tristan, you did not. Whatever I did, I'm very bad at like sarcasm and weird jokes. I'm a weird joke kind of person, all right? So sometimes when I say jokish stuff, it doesn't come off as that. Which which has sometimes done some really bad things for me in real life. I'm making a joke, clearly a joke for me, but it's not clear for everyone else, and then everybody gets upset with me, which I also find funny. I find strong emotions entertaining either way. That's just the way I am because I am very full of strong emotions, and they usually come out a lot. I'll say what I think right out there, and that's why I always warn people: don't ask me what I really think because I will really tell you. I won't lie to you. Uh, don't ask me. Don't ask me what I think about your shirt. If you're afraid of hearing that I might not like it, then don't ask me. I'll tell you. It's not because I want to be mean to you. It's because you asked me and I want to tell you the truth. It's weird. Gotten me in trouble more times than I really want to admit, though. Can't help it. It's just everything that comes to my mind sometimes I just blurt it out. Anyone else have problems with that? Right. So there we go. Okay. So what I wanted to talk today is the problem of syncing external gear with iOS. So the biggest problem I have is whenever I want to do stuff with AUM, okay, I have this syncing issue. And it's mainly when I want to incorporate stuff that is hardware. I don't have any problems really syncing stuff from one iPad to another, apart from some apps. Because some apps, especially if you're running an app on an older iPad, you'll have the problem of latency and not being able to run maybe that older pad on a high enough or low enough buffering size. And so when you start doing sync with Ableton Link, for instance, you can hear that if you're running a kick drum on one iPad, on the iPad Pro, for instance, and then you're running a kick drum on the older iPad, like an iPad Mini 2 or even an iPhone 6, or an iPhone 7, as a friend of mine told me. He is having problems with that. He can hear that the kicks are just that millisecond, a few, not 1 millisecond, but it's a few milliseconds in between. And on my side, I can hear it. It sometimes goes up into the half second, where I can really hear it, and it's super annoying, super annoying. And so I have to do tricks. So if I'm using two instances of figure, I make sure not to use any drums on the one that is not syncing that well, and I'll start using pad sounds or something else with slow attack, so that it sounds as if it is in rhythm, or in beat, when it's really not. Okay, I do stuff like that all the time, and I feel like I have to do those workarounds with everything. It doesn't matter if I'm syncing this, so like this one. I absolutely love this machine. This is amazing. And for anyone who does not know, it's the Sonicware Live in 8-bit warps. It's a synthesizer with a step sequencer, 64 steps, and it's got 4 different types of synthesis engines. It's great. But for some reason it doesn't have MIDI clock sync in. It only has it out. And there's where I get into the first problem. I just wanted to sync this to AUM very simple by just using a MIDI interface, and I'll show you a MIDI interface that I use. For instance, I've got wait, where is it? There we go. Alright, so I have several ones. I have this one that I use sometimes. It's the iRig one. And then I got like something like this. And I bought this just because I wanted something really cheap, and to show in an episode I did why you shouldn't buy cheap stuff. Now, when you're doing sync and stuff like that, these work, okay? So you just connect that through the USB Lightning port or to a USB-C port with a connector or a hub or something like that, and you got MIDI in and out. And I just wanted to connect it so that I could sync up audio AUM, so I could have AUM as the master clock and this as the slave. And I couldn't do that the way I wanted it because of the fact that this one doesn't take MIDI sync in. And I don't know if it does that with an update, but that's the first problem I had. So when I was sitting there and I was having my inspiration, I knew what kind of music I wanted to do. I already had a whole setup inside AUM. I just needed to add this. I couldn't. So I thought, alright, okay, but it does send MIDI clock out. So let's send the clock from this in here. Another problem. Does AUM take MIDI clock in? Well, let's go and check. And every time I check, I forget about this. So I go into MIDI, I go to MIDI clock, and of course, it's just a send. So I thought, okay, that's cool. I've got Ableton Link. Let's use an app that can interpret Ableton Link into MIDI, and I'll sync with Ableton Link on this side, and then I'll send out the MIDI signal out to Sonic Live in 8-bit warps. Fine, right? No, because that doesn't work, because it just won't sync. It won't sync. I'll have the syncing sessions running in 2 different speeds. So let's try it out. I've gotten this thing to sync sometimes, but most of the time it doesn't. So I need to go into MIDI tools and I'll show you. So there's an app called Midi Link Sync. All right, Midi Link Sync. And all it does is it handles syncing from MIDI to Ableton Link or Ableton Link to MIDI. So I want to send this out to this thing, and so I need to start a MIDI clock. Oh, of course, I need to connect MIDI to it first. So let's do that. Let's give it a MIDI connection. I'm gonna use this thing here, this MIDI cable. It's basically just a USB MIDI device. So it's got MIDI in and out, and then a USB connection. Now the way that I've got it connected up is that I have an audio hub over here, so I can just connect it to the hub, and I'll have it connected so we have a MIDI interface. Okay, and it pops up. Does it pop up? Is that it? MIDI link sync out. Does it see that? Let's restart the app so we can see if it really finds that one. MIDI link mini? MIDI link mini. Is that it? Is it sending out? Or am I going crazy here? Oh my god, now it's synced for some fucking reason. God damn it. I'm sorry for swearing, but I'm so annoyed at this. I could not get this to work. Alright, no, sorry. Oh my, you see how I'm getting confused here. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the sync out from this thing into here. So I need to connect this to the output. So let's see here, the in to the out of this thing, because we want the clock from here to control Ableton Link, and then have Ableton Link control the tempo for AUM. What's missing? I'm missing something. Oh, that's right. I'm missing an adapter. I need power for this thing. Where did I put that over here? Alright, so now we have an adapter. We'll put that in. And there we go. Turn that on. Live and turns on. And we want to go to MIDI to link. Oh, and it crashed. Restart. I swear to you, this is what it is for me every time I try to do something. And I'm so curious to hearing how other people are doing this. Because some people are telling me they have no problems syncing stuff like this. I have problems all the time. And it gets even worse when you try to incorporate stuff like the pocket operator or anything like a Volca or anything where you want to use click sync, because now you have to use another third thing to get the click to sync with everything else. So you're going from Ableton to Midi, from Midi to click sync. It's horrible. It stops me every time, and I just end up not doing any work at all, and I give up. I absolutely give up. The only time it works for me is when I'm using only hardware devices. So if I'm using just this, just a Uno drum, just a Uno synth, just a Volca, and I sync them together with Midi, no problems. I know how to do that. I used to do that all the time in the past. No problems. So let's go to Midi to link. There we go. It shows me the Ableton link thing, and now we just need to find the okay, can you see this? So let's enable sync, and I can't get the clocks to run at the same. Like the sequences are all wrong, and when you start and stop things over here, nothing works. Everything is off key, and I want it so that this thing actually syncs this up, but it doesn't. So they're synced now, they're running together, but they're running at different clocks, at different starts, you know? I can't get it to work. Using Audibus MIDI and Ableton Link to sync AUM. At least the Volcas can receive MIDI clock. What's your favorite iOS drum machine? I don't have a favorite iOS drum machine because none of them have really done everything I want. I'll tell you this, if there was a favorite iOS drum machine, then I would have made it, because no one has managed to get to the point where I want it to be. I've told many app developers about the exact type of drum machine they could make, and it's a drum machine that works more like an electron drum machine. So you're mixing waveforms with synthesis, and it's done in a very specific way. It's got a very specific sequencer, you know, kind of like the Drambo one or an Electron one, and everything needs to be MIDI mappable, and the front page needs to be minimized when it comes to control. There's a certain type of drum machine I want. The slopes need to be absolutely perfectly tuned for drum sounds, because many drum sounds, they sound fine, but when it comes to the type of drums I want, there is only one drum machine, a software drum machine, that does it precisely right, precisely the way I want it, and it's only available for PC and Mac. It's Microtonic. It's Microtonic. Microtonic. It's perfect, and that's why I like the Pocket Operator PO32 so much, because it's built with the Microtonic drum machine inside there. I've heard a lot of drum machines in my time, okay? A lot of them, and I've tried a lot, I've owned a lot, and when it comes to electronic drum sounds, I mean like when it's synthesized drum sounds, Microtonic is the only one so far that have been able to do it right, to my ears, the way I want it. And I would so much want a Microtonic drum machine app. And no one seems to get it when it comes to the envelopes, because it's the slope of the envelope that makes everything different when it comes to drums. If you can't tweak the slope just right and have the exact speed in the slope, you know, for the pitch and everything, if you can't mix in white noise filtered at the right, it's so hard to explain, you know. I know exactly what it is, and I've tried to recreate it with Myrac. I've tried to recreate it in other drum synths. When I tried an Electron, a sampler, I was able to do it because the slopes are right in there. But on iOS, no. None of them. This is why I have a modular drum machine. Love having those tools available. Yeah, and you can do it with modular. I wasn't able to do it with Myrac, probably because I haven't been able to find the right type of envelope yet. And that's the thing. Like if you have a hardware Eurorack system, you want to find that perfect envelope. If you don't, you still get an envelope, and you can always mod it. You can always change something. You change a few resistors, you change a few capacitors, and suddenly you have a sick envelope just for this one specific thing of tuning the kickoff of a pitch roll off. Because without that, you're not getting it there. There has been one drum machine that where I was able to make some really nice electronic drums, and that was DM2. If anyone remembers that one. My point with this episode, with this live stream, was to show you stuff like this, okay? And I'm getting off topic, I think, talking about drum sounds, but I don't really care at this point. I'll talk whatever you want to talk today. I don't care. We'll talk about whatever. But when it comes to syncing stuff with hardware and iOS, I just still am so, it feels so lacking. And I can't tell you how much I'm longing for this thing here, all right? So let me show you this. Let me show you this thing. I've talked about this before. You can probably see it. So the Korg SQ64. It's going to come out the 15th. I have no internet. Of course, I have no internet. I'll just turn on the Wi-Fi. Hopefully we won't lose the internet. Yes, these are the iLoad MTM speakers, and I was about to do a video before Christmas, but my channel still hadn't like picked up from the summer of the drop in views, and so I thought I'll wait till next year. And now finally stuff has started to pick up again. So soon enough you'll get a review or a video about the MTM iLoads, because I'm super happy with them. They're amazing in so many ways, just amazing. Everything I read about them seems to fit, and I found this like really thorough review where they tested everything from how much you can crank them up before the bass starts distorting. They tested blowhole sounds like I'm talking about a whale, but it has like a bass port on the back, stuff like that. And I pretty much agreed with a lot of the things they said there, but in the end they just thought it was a magnificent pair of monitors, and they truly are. Yeah, the sync gap is drifting. I know it's drifting. I hate it. I don't know. I just this is why I like using just hardware or just software whenever I try to mix them up, unless I'm using MIDI controllers, because I get MIDI controllers working all the time. That's not a problem for me. And the little bit of millisecond lag I get is so little I won't even notice it. But trying to sync sound devices, sound generating devices, hardware and software, it's just a horrible thing for me. It has always been a horrible thing for me, and now I finally realize it, how much I'm trying to just work at it. And I can kind of remember going back in time when I was using something like Windows 98, trying to get stuff to sync with hardware, and I don't feel it's gotten much better. It should have, but I don't feel that it has. It might just be me, it might just be me, but sometimes I wish there was this one device just saying like Ableton linker with a load of ports on it, like click pulse sync ports, kind of like an OpLab, like the old OpLab, the OP, what is it called, OP8 or something like that. Yeah, just sync ports, MIDI ports and everything. And there is this guy working on something like that called RK. The problem with the RK that I had, whenever I tried to drive it with a USB battery, because I was using it when I was going away, on trips. So I was picking up a Volca, I picked up a pocket operator and an iPad Mini 2, and then I used the RK00, what is it, 004 or something like that. What happens it turns it off. So you have to power it with an adapter because it's just too efficient. It's too power efficient, which is great when you've got a portable situation going. You don't want pulling too much battery because I could power so much. I could power the Volca with it with a special cable. I could power a Uno synth with it. I could power the iPad with this USB battery, but the RK was pulling too little, and suddenly I had no syncing port. So now I couldn't bring them together. It was so stupid. Tristan, yeah, I do get that. I get discouraged and pissed off. Could it be a power supply issue? Don't know. Buffering? Maybe. Maybe. It could be. So the thing I really want is the Korg SQ64. Okay? I want this thing. Why won't it come up in full screen? Ah, 99 Musik. I love that forum. Um, I just want just show me the big one. Come on. Show me the biggest size for this picture. Just pictures. I just want to see the picture. Show me the picture. Okay, so you can see that, right? The Korg SQ64 is a polyphonic sequencer, all right? To me, it kind of reminds me of the sequencer I've been working with in Drambo. And some of the stuff I've seen people do with Deluge, and stuff like that. This is really what I want. I want something like this to work with. And I don't know how well it's going to work with trying to get this to play nice with an iPad, but that's what I want, okay? Because then I have this dedicated hardware syncing sequencer that I can use, and then I want to have AUM into that, where I could just load up a few instances of spacecraft and then connect them to Midi controllers. By the way, anyone who has been trying to get me to check out LK by Imaginando, I'll tell you what I think about that a little bit later on, because I've tried it now. AUM gets stuck in certain buffer rates, so I have to hard reset my iPad 2020 a lot. Minilog XD has MIDI ports and CV Sync hasn't experienced yet. You hardware sequencers are evil. Uncle Tom, hardware sequencers are good usually when it's Korg that made them. I love Korg sequencing. I do. I really, except from the Volcas. I don't like sequencing on the Volcas at all. But the Electribe series sequencers I've never been so quick with any type of hardware as I was with the Electribe sequencers. I was making full tracks on those, and the only thing I was wishing for was for more steps and more pages or more patterns and stuff. That was the only thing. And what I'm hoping is, it looks like it, but what I'm hoping is that they've just built upon what they used to do with the original MK1, MK2 groove boxes in this thing, only with more tracks and polyphonic. Because that's something I missed, when I was using the old groove boxes, the old, why am I saying groove boxes? The ER1, the ES1, the EA1, Electribes. The Electribe sequencers, I just love them so much. Hardware sequences saved my hardware setup. Yeah. Have you seen Squarp Pyramid? Pyramid, isn't that like just an expensive, bigger version than this? Squarp Pyramid. I think that trying to get a hardware sequencer and then get the iPad to play nice with that is the right way to go. I've seen a lot of people do that with the Arturia stuff. The Arturia stuff seems to be really nice, like the key step and the beat step. The key step is not really for me because I'm not a keyboard player, but the beat step seems to be for me. So I'll be getting both the Korg SQ64 and the beat step and see whatever works for me. At this point, I'm desperate. I am desperate. I just want something that works fine, okay? And I'm okay with having a hardware sequencer that does not play nice with the iPad. I'm okay with that because that means that I can still do my hardware stuff if I want in the right way and just sequence the stuff the way I want it and not having to rely on internal sequencers. Because on the Unisynth, I love the Unisynth, but I want to be able to make sequencers 64 steps long, and I can't. This one allows me to do 64-step sequences, but the Uni doesn't. Okay, so I'm locked into 16 steps. But if I have a hardware sequencer, I can work around that very easily. Squarp pyramid. Limited memory, poor editing, chords, horrible. It is if you're using one of the older types of sequencers. It is. That's what I missed with the old groove boxes and the old Electribes. Just trying to do stuff, polyphonically, doing chords or editing MIDI and stuff. But the new sequencers, they've tried to incorporate much more of a live playing situation into it, and they try to do other things. That's why I don't think it's horrible anymore. Because it used to be, you were locked into, like, no memory. I get it, no memory, not enough steps. It's annoying. It's what keeping me from buying more Volcas. The amount of steps and not being able to save my presets and stuff like that, it's keeping me from using them. I no longer find the Volcas useful for me. I found them to sound great. Everyone that I've tested sounds amazing, absolutely amazing. Everyone that I've tested was fun to use, but when it came to wanting to use them, it was easier to get into Pocket Operators because of how simple and playable they were with chaining stuff and doing live effects and things like that. They bring a whole new set of stuff on top of what they're already doing in that very small format, and you can drive it with just 2 AAA batteries. I absolutely love the Pocket Operators for that. But what I hate is the lack of memory. You can only save in like 16 every time. That's what you can save. 16 patterns. 16 steps, 16 this and that. Even when you change stuff. I want more. I want 64, 128. That's what I loved with the MC101. The MC101, polyphonic, 128 steps. I mean, come on. You could change stuff so much. The live effects on the MC101, absolutely sick. Absolutely sick. And being able to do equalizing, individual equalizing on every individual drum sound is great. Individual effects on each sound, it's great. It's just that the MC101 was a bit too small for me. I think I would have fared better with the other one. But it's very easy to get going on the new MCs. I really like what they did with those. Squarp Pyramid 64-track sequencer. I think this is the one you're talking about, right? So about 619. That thing looks kind of great. So it's got a the touchpad. Is that like an XY pad that you just assign stuff to? All right, okay, I get it. Uh-huh. MIDI in, USB MIDI out, MIDI in, CV gate output, convert CV gate to MIDI out, MIDI in, clock sync, in sync. You see, all of these sequencers are doing this today. Hello, Irvin. 64 bars isn't enough. 64 steps is silly. 16 steps is a bear. Uncle Tom, you really hate this, don't you? Hey, Pascal. Pascal, I'm not able to clear your link. For some reason, YouTube automatically stops links from showing, and when I try to show it, it just won't let it. So I think it's some setting or something I need to fix. I'm sorry, but Pascal was trying to Pascal was trying to send a link to oxyinstruments.com if anyone want to go check that out. Pyramid has arbitrary track lengths as long as you want. Hey, Uncle Tom, are you hearing this? Are you reading this? Read what Mike Lucas is saying here. Irvin Castro. So I don't know when you asked, but this is the pyramid. It costs $600 or $750 about. It's a sequencer. And it seems to be very souped up. We were talking sequencers because in this episode I talked about how every time I try to do anything where I connect hardware to iPad, it always fails at some point. Having it like incoherent, unsyncing clock syncs between Ableton when you want to go from Ableton to Midi and back, and using pulse sync, click sync. It's just horrible. Every time I try to do that, I end up not liking the situation and I end up stopping it. And I just open up Cubasis or just AUM or Nano Studio or Core Gadget or something that just works. You know, like Bethesda game, because they just work. It all just works. But this, you know, trying to connect all of this, the hardware with the software, it doesn't always work. Most of the time for me, it doesn't. It just doesn't work. And I was so curious because like so many people have been telling me that it's working perfectly for them. And then we started talking about hardware sequencers, because having a dedicated hardware sequencer like the Pyramid or like the new Korg SQ64 sequencer that I want to get, that I'm going to get, or something like an Arturia beat step or key step. If you have a dedicated hardware thing that drives all the clock syncs for the hardware, for whatever signal you want, CV gate, pulse click, for pocket operators, Volcas, Midi, if you can have all of that in one hardware unit, then you have that sync locked down. Then what you need to do is to get the iPad to sync with that. And that should be a really good situation or solution. But yeah, so Irvin, do you have a key step? Squarp does not have unlimited anything. So nobody claimed everything was unlimited. Okay, so it's a hardware sequencer. They have limitations. All right, but how long can you make them? If you have arbitrary, I mean, there's got to be a point where you're filling up the buffer. Are we talking minutes here now? Like you can record notes for 20 minutes or something like that? Anyone ever tried something like that? That would be interesting to find out. Now I need power. I have to steal power from this thing, get it into my phone before it dies. They tried that for stability. They have limitations inherently. Genome Midi. A friend has it. Yeah, Irvin, if you want to get hardware to sync with your iPad or your iPhone, I suggest trying to look up something like BeatStep, KeyStep, the new Korg SQ sequencer. If you have a lot of money, check out the Pyramid one. I'm gonna check Genome. Midi. Everyone is coming. Whenever I talk about stuff like this, or I ask people online, the community always provides, and I'm so happy because then I don't have to sit alone at home. I'm sure that many of you know what that feels like when you're the only one in the room understanding exactly the problem you're having, and you just want some help. And sitting alone doing that kind of stuff is infuriating, and it can drive you absolutely mad, and it has. I think I'm mad by now. Genome Midi sequencer. So what is this? Is this an app? Oh, it's an app. All right. Okay, so if we're talking about software sequencers, everyone, I've tried LK by Imaginando, and I'll say this. I watched a video from a YouTuber who seems to like my channel for some reason. His name is Paris, and I just want to tell you about him because that guy is great. Can I bring up YouTube so I can search for that? Paris, Dylan Paris, AUM, LK, Paris, Dylan. There we go. All right, this dude right here, Dylan Paris, he says some pretty nice words about me, and I think it is this video. And it's a great video for people who wants to have an Ableton-like workflow for well, on the iPad, because you're basically combining AUM with the power of a looping sequencer. Okay, I have tried it out, and I can tell you right away, it is not for me at all. I don't like it. It's great. It has all these functions and abilities, but the complete and utter inability for me to map any of the controls in there makes it unusable for me, because that's really what I want to do. Okay, what I want to do is take something like the Korg. Where is it? Come on. Oh wait, give me a sec. Come here. All right. I'll show you this. All right. So here we have the Korg Nano Control Studio, and if you look at this, we have 4 rows of buttons. So we have select, we have record, we have solo, and we have mute. Then we have 8 knobs, and we have 8 faders. Now, if you open up LK, which I'll show you what that looks like. So I'll open up AUM here. I'll just open up a channel, a MIDI. I'll go to let's see here, audio unit MIDI processor. Let's make sure that you can see what the hell I'm doing here. All right. So audio MIDI processor, and let's search for LK. Oh crap, it's not that. It's a unit extension, isn't it? LK. What? Come on. There we go. LK. So I'm loading this up, and I'm opening it. So this is LK. Let's maximize this. So what we can see right now, let's open up the mixer here right now. Okay, so I'll tell you. So this is the track selector down here. This is the track selector. And right above it, we have a recording button. And then we have a solo button. And then we have like a track selector mute thing. And then we have a stop. Now I could, what I want to do is to map these button here to this. Okay? So that I can select track when I want to record on a new track, and so that I can press record, press solo, press mute, use the faders for the MIDI, because if you press this thing here called, where is it? There. No, wrong. If I press this, I can get the volume control for the channels, and if I press the other one down here, I get the panning, so I can do panning right there. Okay, and this is, you can't MIDI map this. None of this is MIDI mappable. None of it. Now the way that it works is that you have this box, okay, like this, and you can record sequences into it, and you can pretty much make them as long as you want. And so you're basically working with something, if you've ever seen Mod Step, that's what this is. It's a MIDI clip. You record something into it, and if you want, you can go into the piano roll for that clip and edit it if you want. Now, the way that Dylan uses this is exactly like this. He is using it with AUM in the background, and he loves that. And it's so fun, because if you watch his channel, I'll talk about this channel later. I'll show you. You have to go watch him do live performances with him, because they're really good. So he basically just loads up AUM, he loads up all the synths and everything he wants, and then what he does, he also adds another channel or another input, and he loads a audio KB1 from Numerical Audio from Kairos. And what he does is he routes this to LK. So this thing goes to LK, so he can play notes into LK, and LK then transmits that out to synthesizers that you have, or drum machines. And that way you now have a full recordable MIDI looper right there running on your one pad, where you can just record stuff. But it would be so much nicer if I could have a controller to it, so that I wouldn't have to go and that's what I don't like with this. This becomes fiddly for me. I don't want to touch the screen by now. Now I just want a controller that I can have my fingers resting on. And so when I want to record something on the bass track, I select the bass track instantly, and I can just do this with the volume and control. This is much faster for me to work than it is on here. That's actually what I want to do. I want to have that kind of Ableton style workflow, but use a MIDI controller for it with a MIDI keyboard, because I already have like the NanoKey Studio where I can do scales and stuff like that. It would be so much fun, but none of it is MIDI mappable. I don't understand why. You can't even map it using the AUM MIDI learn. Oh, you mean like AUV3 parameters, right? No, I'll show you. Okay? So we go into the channel for this thing, and I want to press over here, and we go down here. The only thing you have are these. You have bypass, preset load, and show plugin. That's it. That's all you can map in that software through AUV3 parameters. There's nothing else mappable. Okay? This would be brilliant if you could minimap these things. Absolutely brilliant. I would start using that. I would start making music with that. I can't work like that, but Dylan Paris can. He definitely can work like that.
Hi, I'm Dylan Paris, and I want to talk about iPad music production. Specifically, I want to talk about two apps that I've recently started using that, when used together, create a workflow routed to its own channel.
If you want to know how to set something like this up, if you don't know how to, if you want to use LK yourself, you should go and look up this video from Dylan Paris, okay? So, and also subscribe to him. He only has 1,500 subscribers. I mean, he needs more. He does great work. Ableton for iPad, LK and AUM. All you need to really search for is Dylan Paris LK AUM, and you'll find this video and his channel. And he actually does performances with this. The guy also uses hardware, but he uses the iPad a lot. It's just, yeah, it's a great channel. Go check that out. And he definitely found use for it. He even loves the NanoKey Studio that I have also. I think it's a common thing among some kind, a certain type of people. We just love the same stuff, I think. But he's got a great taste in gear. He also uses the machine, and I really want to try the machine, but it's just too expensive for me. I can't put out money on something like that. I mean, I saved up for an iPad for ages, and then I had to still go get one. From an auction site, so I could get it at a cheaper price, so I could actually afford some other stuff like dongles, because of course you need dongles when you're doing iOS music. So Dylan Paris, everyone, great channel. Now, after all of this, after talking about all of this, what do I really want to use? Because the biggest problem when you are trying to sync a lot of stuff up is usually that you haven't, or I haven't, that we haven't thought our setup through quite. We've been buying pieces and gear. You see, most of us don't go out and buy all the gear. Not even in the past, when I had more money, when I was doing multiple jobs and I was actually making a lot of money. I was touring and gigging and stuff like that. Not even then did I go out and buy 6 synthesizers at one time. I didn't. I bought one piece at a time. A compressor, a set of cables, another MIDI cable, solving problems as it went along. You don't buy everything and just hook it up together without having a plan. You might be one of those people. Let's say you win $1 million and then you go out and buy stuff. You still have to find a way of working with it. You have to know your gear. And that's the problem, right? I have a lot of gear. I know most of it pretty damn well. But what do I know mostly? I know my iPads. I know that. And I know a few apps I know intimately, okay? Intimately. And then I know my MIDI controllers intimately. So I have to somehow find a way of incorporating that into my setup. Good, now I have a start of a plan. If you don't have a plan when you start building these things, it's all gonna go to hell. It's all gonna go to shit all the time. And that's my problem. I never really planned for the live setup because I never thought that I would actually end up there again with hardware and software. I thought I would be using just a lot of iPads, and I like doing that too. And so, I mean, the most optimal situation is when you build your setup and you have it ready to go and everything is fine, right? Everything is connected, every cable, you've thought that out, the sync works, you know at which order you're going to turn stuff on, what patches to load. But that's not the ideal situation for me, might not be an ideal situation for many people out there, especially those of you who have families. You might not even have a space enough, for your sessions. You might just have this little coffee table, and maybe when you've gotten your kids to bed, you bring out your stuff, on a little tray, and you want it to work right there, right then. In those situations, it's very, 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 very important that you've thought it through, because you don't want to sit. If you only have 2.5 hours before you need to go to bed because you have an early day the day after, you don't want to sit an hour trying to solve a problem because it's going to suck all the creativity out of you. That's what's been happening to me. So the only thing I'm planning for right now is to first solve my hardware syncing problems. And then I'll try to get that to play nice with iPad. Because syncing stuff internally on an iPad is usually usually quite good. It works. Alright? If I want to run one instance of Figure and then with AUM, Ableton Link, and a lot of synths, that's okay. That's fine. That's fine. And also, make sure you choose apps that works well for working with live stuff. Because a lot of people, they've been screaming for instance, I know I have this one dude that I've talked to sometimes. He tells me that he wants to use Cubase's live, and he wants that to have Ableton Link Sync, and I know a lot of people want that. I worked with I worked with Cubase's live on stage, and it was a horrible experience. I worked with Cubase live on stage. Horrible experience because it's not made for that. It's not made for that. In those cases, it's better to use something else. In those cases, I want something else. I would not use apps like Nano Studio live. I wouldn't use apps like I would maybe use Beatmaker, because MPC like apps are great live, actually. But I wouldn't use DAW type apps like Aria Pro, Cubase's, Multitrack DAW, anything like that. Wouldn't want to use that. In situations where I want to loop audio, Loopy has been great for that for me. And recording stuff live and playing it live back, Loopy has worked extremely well because everything is MIDI mappable. I have this controller completely mapped out in Loopy, and I can do whatever I want with this thing and Loopy. Yeah, I've been missing a lot here. How about 4 Pockets MIDI converter? Are you describing Ableton for iPad? Well, I'm not really describing Ableton for iPad, but yeah, it's kind of Ableton for iPad. That's really what I want when it comes to MIDI looping. MIDI looping, you're doing MIDI clips. ModStep had that, but ModStep doesn't seem to be updated. It doesn't seem to be getting any updates, and so that is a problem trying to keep that current. And as I said in my video about me not wanting to do MIDI sequencing in AUM, if you saw that, in there I say that a big problem was that I couldn't load some of the plugins that I wanted to load, because something I use a lot is the FabFilter plugins, and for some reason ModStep doesn't even see them because it hasn't gotten an update for 4 years. So there's something, not working in there. It doesn't recognize those AUV3s, even though it can load AUV3s. And yeah, so I don't know what that is. They won't add it on the complaint. I use Circuit as a master. It sends USB MIDI to iPad and cable. Yeah, you see, you have a hardware thing, and then you're trying to get the iPad to play nice with that. That's exactly what I want to do. Exactly what I want to do. I mean, any good tips you might have about this? I want to have this discussion a lot as things move along, and whenever you, the audience, whenever any one of you decides to buy something with a sequencer that seems good, something you're able to sync well with your iPad without clocking issues, without hearing a millisecond delay on something or stuff drifting all over the place, which I get that sometimes. I got that with the Volca. It was drifting when I was syncing it with something. I just mention that. Go on Instagram. Just type something out. It doesn't have to be, related to the post I'm posting. You can say, hey, it's unrelated, but you wanted to know blah 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 blah. I found this out. I tried this. Hey, Jacob, don't buy the SQ because I tried it. It's not good because this and that. I think it's gonna be good though. But that's, yeah, I can't say for sure until I've tested it. OPC is a monster. Yeah, here's something I love. The OPC connected to an iPad directly, perfect. Just works. Just the cable right in there, works. Just works. Just works. Brilliant. Brilliant. No problem. Audio and MIDI. Brilliant. I love that. Absolutely love that. It was almost the same thing, after the update with the MC101, you can also get core audio. Before that, you could only get core MIDI, but now you can get core audio. So now you have two channels in when you connect it via USB. That's also brilliant. The problem is if you want to do other things, though. Like, the problem comes when you decide, like, hey, I want to have a Pocket Operator 2 to this, and I want to have this. Now you have to get a sound interface because iOS can only handle one sound interface, and it counts the headphone jack into that if you have one. So now you have to disconnect the OPC. So now you no longer have that sync. You have to go over to another USB cable, a USB hub, and now you have to get your sound card, and now you have to get your inputs out, and suddenly it becomes a little bit more choresome to do. That can sometimes break my concentration. And that's why I try to, whenever I use my OPC with my iPad, it's mostly just for me wanting to sample up stuff that I've sequenced in that thing, because it's fun sequencing on the OPC because of all the triggers and stuff you can do. The step triggering, beat triggers. Wait, what? I can't even remember what they're called. Those little icons on the buttons, they do weird stuff, like stutters and things like. I just love that. Brilliant. You can disable the audio interface? Oh. Oh, wait. I saw something about that. You have to do that in an INI file, right? Am I right? I just forgot. I'll do that. Because that would make it easier for me to use it. Oh, by the way, here's the thing, everyone. Someone mentioned OpLab inside the OPC, and you know what? When I went over to Teenage Engineering to meet up with Tobias von Husten, he asked me, "Do you want anything extra in that thing when you're testing it out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want the OpLab," and then I forgot about it. I actually have an OpLab in there, and I keep forgetting that it's there. For anyone who doesn't know, this is a syncing module basically. So it has CV and gate, and it can also do Pocket Operator sync. And I'm so stupid because I keep forgetting that it's in there. What am I doing? By the way, one great thing that Teenage Engineering did was put in a replaceable lithium battery in here. Great, because I didn't like that with the OP1, that you couldn't, you had to basically break apart the whole thing if you wanted to do something with it. With the OPC, you can just pop out the battery. That's really nice, really nice. And this thing is super fun, really. It's very much Teenage Engineering. So if you're not into Teenage Engineering, you're not gonna like it. But if you are, if you like the fun, something they always try to do is to make their stuff fun, okay, and very hipstery. So fun and hipstery. And even though I'm not a hipster, I do love these. Maybe I'm a bit of a hipster. Everybody, I've seen, one time I did this promotion thing with the Propeller Head. They were called Propeller Heads. They're called Recent Studios now, and I'm in a video for what was it? Was it Recent Mobile Studio something? It was something. They did something. I can't remember what it was. I got paid for that job, by the way, so that was a great gig. Getting paid for just standing there doing music stuff. It was lovely. Me and two other people, two other musicians. And I thought it was so funny because that that video, the comment section is full with people saying, they're just hipsters. And the funny thing is that I don't think you know what a hipster is if you think that when you're looking at us three, because we're the exact opposite of hipsters. But I think that the word hipster has become something different online, you know? Yeah, it's just bizarre. If you use the USB, there's no need for OpLab. Yeah, exactly. You don't need that. But why I wanted the OpLab was because I wanted to connect it to other things, and I tried it. With Midi and with this thing is great, by the way, to sync with. It was very fun using this together with the and I was I was using the Midi cable for it basically to the and stuff. That was really fun to work with, and I don't know. They've done a lot of fun with this. A lot of fun with this. And I like the way that you're able to switch out the synth engines or the sound engines in here. That's super fun. I've actually switched out everything, so now I've got the same engine on every synth part because I like using it in different ways. Yeah, I know. I'm weird. Yeah, it's very much kind of electronic. There are some people over at Teenage Engineering that have been working for Electron in the past, so it shouldn't surprise anyone, really. If well, it should. If you didn't know that, it would surprise you. What am I saying? But yeah, so if that if it seems like that, it's because it's the same kind of that typical. I don't know. Maybe it's a Swedish mentality thing. I think. If you're getting an Electron device, and if you're getting a pocket operator device, you're getting something Swedish. That's just the way it is. Samuel, if you're still here, back me up here, buddy. I need some backup. I don't know if you're here, Samuel. Maybe you're doing something else. Maybe you're taking a shower and you have my stream on in the background. Samuel takes showers and then he listens to my stream in the background. And if he's not here, maybe I should just make a little clip out of this and put it up on Instagram and tag him. I think he would love that. So what have we learned today? We've learned that I don't handle stress well. That's one thing. And I don't know what I'm doing with my hardware setup together with my iPad setup right now. So step number one, Jakob needs to get a hardware sequencer first. Okay? And I'll tell you as soon as I have one. I want it to be the Korg SQ64 for now. I'll get that first as soon as it's available. And I'm able to do that finally when I get paid also for Agonizer. That's been a good thing. It's going to add a little bit extra now so I can actually upgrade some parts of the studio, which definitely and desperately needs it. The other thing I'm going to do is switch out the sound card, which I'm not going to mention the supplier or the manufacturer because I don't want to support that manufacturer. That's why I taped over the name here. I want a Focusrite card, and I've been looking at the same Focusrite card for a long time. I know exactly what I want, so that's what I'm going to get instead of this thing. It's also smaller, and it's got the right type of connections on the back and everything. So that's the second thing I'm going to get because I need all those outputs. And I also am going to get one of those ADAT interfaces with optical connectors so I can add another 8 channels on, because it would be nice being able to test out how many channels I could actually track, at a high enough resolution on an iPad Pro versus the from 2018 versus the iPad Pro from 2015 versus the iPad Mini. I want to do stuff like that, some proper tests. Hello, Hassan. I don't know if I pronounced your name right. Hassan Ashraf. I don't know if that's right, but hello and welcome to the stream. Anka Tom, you're swearing that third word in your. Here's the thing, though. Anyone reading what Anka Tom said, it's kind of true, but not really. Here, I've been using their stuff for a long time, an extremely long time. I was one of the first people in my hometown to get one of their pieces back when this company was really unknown. Okay, really unknown, and everybody looked at them and said that that's just crappy stuff, and a lot of it wasn't really good. Okay, I can say that from the beginning, but then I tested stuff that were good, and I started using that stuff. So whatever I bought worked perfectly for me. And then I start seeing how they act towards criticism online. And it's not something, a lot of people thought that whatever happened last year or, in 2020 with, what's his name? What's his name? Peter? Peter from CDM. They did this stupid drawing thing, and people call them racist and stuff like that, and people seem to think that that's the reason, because I hate racism, because I've dealt with that stupid shit. Being someone who doesn't look Swedish in a Swedish country, that stupid shit hits me, and sometimes it happens a lot that it hits me, but I can deal with that, and I can deal with it online. I'm okay. I can deal with it. I know that what one person says in a company, it doesn't reflect what everyone in a company or everyone in a group thinks. So I'm fine with that. What I couldn't handle was the fact that they went out of their way, throwing their multi-billion industry with their 3,500 employees and their huge marketing department and their lawyer team. They threw all of that into going in and trademarking the last name of a journalist just to mess with him. That's my limit. That's why I stopped using their stuff. Most people in the industry looked at that and thought that, what the hell is going on? Have you become crazy? Why would you do that? Yes, they did undo that later on, and they kind of apologized. But the problem is they didn't let the apology stick. They removed the apology an hour after they posted it on Facebook, basically unapologizing. This is why I don't want to talk about their stuff. This is why I don't want to promote them on my site anymore. This is why I removed videos, which removed a huge deal of views from my channel, also hurting my channel in the process, because I can't stand stuff like that. Throwing all that power against one journalist, one person, is unbelievable, unfucking believable. It's on a different level. The level of ego you have to be so hurt that you're going that route when you're a company that big with fucking stores and products in globally. It's insane. What are you doing? This is why I can't stand it. Okay, so it's not that I hate the whole company. That's impossible for me. I don't know the whole company. I don't even know the CEO personally, but someone signed off of that thing being okay. Trademarking someone's name like that. It's so stupid. It's so incredibly stupid. I can't forgive that unless they really apologize and let it stick. Not removing the apology right after they did that. What's up with that? They just wanted it to go away, like everything else. What's going to happen next time? Does everyone who criticizes them, does everyone run that risk of having this company behave like that towards them now? Is that the way it's gonna be? I mean, it's silly. It's silly beyond beliefs. It's playground mentalism. Yeah, okay, so I'm sorry for going off on a tangent with an angry rant here about this company behaving like that. It's just, yeah, I want it to be very clear. it wasn't the racism stuff that pushed me over the edge with this company. It wasn't. I'm not even sure if that thing was racist, whatever they did. What was stupid was going out of their way to trademark Peter Kern's lost name, throwing that whole global company, owning several other companies, by the way, towards just doing this to one person. One person. One person. That's how afraid they were of that person. Having to discredit this guy on that level is just, wow. That says more about you doing it than it says about the person you're trying to attack. It's so unbelievable. I already saw this tendency from them, back in the past. I've been following their social media for years and years. And whenever someone told me, are you really going to use that stuff? I told them, like, hey, this thing actually works and it's good. But I can defend the product, but I cannot defend the actions of the top management from a company. And when the top management behaves in such a deplorable way, then it makes it very hard for me to take one of their products and say you should buy this, because what I'm doing is I'm rewarding their behavior by telling someone to buy it, because now that money is funding that behavior. I don't want that. I don't want that. It's just no. I can't just pat someone on their back when they're doing that. I behave the same way with games now. I'm a gamer, and I'm sick and tired of seeing games come out at a very broken state. I am a cyberpunk player, okay? And if any of you have been hearing anything about what happened with cyberpunk, I knew what I was going into, but a lot of people didn't. And they are right in being mad. They are right in being angry, And the fans protecting this company for what they did, actually lying to the consumers. Stop protecting them. Stop patting them on their back when they do this. Companies will try to take what they can. They will try to push borders and boundaries. And if we keep paying them for it, I don't think we get to complain, because we're rewarding the behavior. That's kind of the mindset I have. Okay, I don't like what you do, so I'm not going to give you my money. And then I'm being a stupid hypocrite because I keep using Apple stuff, even though I'm so tired of them doing the dongle thing. At least this time I didn't buy a new iPad from them. I bought a used one. So, in my stupid brain somewhere, I feel a little bit better. And I think that's how we do it as humans. We're flawed, right? So, okay, at least I didn't buy it new. That should be good enough reason, right? I didn't give the money directly to them. I gave it to someone else. I gave it to a person. Yeah, it's silly. I know. It's hypocritical. It's big hypocrisy. Big hypocrisy. I don't know how to get around it, because right now iOS is the best platform mobile-wise, even though I'm not happy with what Apple does. But one of these days, I promise you, I will make that video everyone thought I would never do. Everything I love about Apple. Okay? I have that script brewing. I've had it brewing for some time. You don't know. Okay? You don't know. But you'll see it. You'll see me actually do a video actually praising Apple for the things that I do like. It's going to be a big thing. So get ready for that. Alright? Buy other stuff. Yeah, in my case, the other stuff I would buy other than this, there's really nothing that comes close to this. Nothing that comes close. The only thing I can imagine is Android or my Microsoft Surface or something like that. And I've used the Surface, and I felt that one had a identity crisis and didn't know what it wanted to be. Let's see, what is time? 20 minutes. I have 20 minutes. Sasha, I have not found a sync solution, but I've decided that I'm gonna get a hardware device first, a hardware sequencer, and then get the iPad to play with that. That's what I've decided. It's the only solution I can find. Something that drives all the hardware and having the iPad sync to that. The only solution I found that seems to be good. Is there a chat room like this where I can actually well, yeah, I mean, it's the Discord, and I know, someone have been telling me, like, Jacob, you're not in the Discord enough, and that is a problem for me because I'm either working on a video or I'm doing research, and when I'm not doing that, whenever I have the time, I do the streams, and when I'm not doing that, I'm back to doing research and video editing if I've got something recorded or I'm recording videos. My videos take a long time to make, and so whenever I get some time over, I start with what I know is going to be a lot of work first, and that is the YouTube comments. Okay, and that might take me hours. And when I'm done with that, I have something else to do. So the next thing I check is emails, and then I do that. And then after that, I have to go around on the social media and check out all of that. And then I remember, oh no, Discord, when did I check that last? And whenever I go in, there's lots of people talking, which is awesome. I noticed that, oh, suddenly I've been away for 2 weeks. What? 2 weeks? But I was just in here yesterday. That's what it feels like to me. Time just flows all the time because I'm constantly engaged with something. But I am trying to engage more with that. In fact, I'll try to get some time in tomorrow to sit down and actually talk to people on Discord because it would be a great place to have that. And we could also do audio chats, which would be awesome because then suddenly there would be some voices attached to your usernames. Even though that can get quite kind of rowdy sometimes. I've seen some YouTubers and their Discord chats, and it goes to hell because they have what 100 people talking at the same time. Buy a workstation from Anka Tom, a workstation for 2003. Those things were pretty cool. Pretty cool. Could do a lot with those. hmm I did have one of those. What was it? i3, M3. Is it called that? Korg M3? Was it M3? I had one of those actually for some time. Wait, that wasn't. Was that a workstation though? I don't know if that was a workstation. I'm not sure. What did I do with that one? I had some Akai samplers also. What are they called? Are those the ones with the SP 2000 3000? Can't remember now, but I had a lot of those. I had at one time I had a lot of SCSI drives. I was doing RAID, I was doing all of these kinds of stuff when I suddenly realized I didn't need that many tracks. Why was I doing this? K2500. Oh, that's cool. I kind of miss the diskettes, but only for a second, because then I remember how it was working with them. iPads for its price is a beast. Yeah, and certainly in my case, because I got an iPad for $500 and it was a 2018 model with a powerful processor used in a mint condition. Wow. And the original charger was there. That was a great price. And I only had to absolutely stalk this auction site for 6 months. I literally did that. Literally did. Checking every notification I got about a new iPad Pro being put up on the site, checking it, checking the price, checking how many bidded on it, just following it, hard, grinding that stuff, sitting all night just watching and watching, and suddenly this one popped up, and I'm just like, buy it now, thank you. 40 megabyte drive. Wow, that's a lot. Well, depending on when we're speaking, that was a lot. I mean, I remember I was using my Amiga 500, all right? I had a Amiga 500 Plus, and I actually put another half megabyte of memory in there. Wow, wow, I had so much altogether. That makes up, what is it, like 1.5 megabytes of RAM? Wow, that was great. And the memory card was like this big, you just chuck in there in like a cartridge. And then I had this sound card that I built, chucked into the back. It was actually a sampler I built myself. And then I was using, what was it, Pro Tracker, Fast Tracker, and you have these diskettes, and what do you have, like 1.44 megabytes, and I had several of those with loads of samples on them, and I still have them. The machine still works. One of these days I'll bring it out and I'll show you some of my really old shitty tracks. You were doing a heck of a lot with the models for a period of time. Can you see exactly how much you can do at a time? AUM is amazing, right? Tristan, are you talking to me now? Or are you asking a question? I can't uh, load a bunch of effects and apps. Yeah, I mean, I did this video about how many synthesizers it takes to crash an iPad, and it, of course, is different. The real reason why I did that video is because I've seen videos and I've seen comments and I've seen like clips online from people saying the iPad is so unstable, the iPad is so unstable. And a lot of the time when I've seen that, I've also seen that they're running their CPU or the DSP really hard in AUM. And I can see that, okay, if this person loads another plugin, it's gonna crash. I know that because I can see the metering just spiking in the reds. If I ask someone, what troubles are you having? Well, when I'm loading multiple synths, stuff glitching out, and I start getting audio glitches. And I'm asking them, what model of iPad do you have? And they'll give me, oh, it's an older iPad Air. And then I'm like, okay, how many synths? Which synth is it? Because a lot of the time this instability is the inability of the user to see that some of the stuff they're loading is really heavy. Just adding EOS 2 to a session, it takes a lot from the system. Try any type of convolution reverb effect or anything similar to a big reverb. Add a bunch of black holes. Reverbs in general, especially long reverb tails, will take loads of your processors. Polyphony, a lot of notes, takes loads of your processor. Like I showed in my video, Model D, excellent modeling in that synth, sounds great, but I can only load, 6 of it compared to 16 agonizers. In the end, we could load 18 agonizers. We probably won't be able to save that session with 18 agonizers and load it, because when it loads, the way that AUM works is it loads in the synth, alright? And when it's done with all the plugins, it then initializes everything. And if that spikes above like 300% or something, then you'll get red icons over the place and you'll have to restart them all one by one by one. So you can't save and load 18 agonizers on the iPad Pro 11-inch from 2018. But you can save and load 16 of them, and then you can add 2 more. 18 synths versus 6. I mean, it's different depending on what synth you're using. I saw someone that told me they loaded 46 instances of a synth. So, I mean, it all depends on what you choose. Filter models eat a huge chunk of processor power. Yeah, or anything that is modeled also is going to eat a lot of processing. Thank you, Tristan. I mean, yeah. Oh, I've been so frustrated because I've seen some videos on YouTube where people try out Agonizer, and they, whenever they play, they start playing on their keyboards, and I can't control the keyboard and the ranges of the keyboard because all of the presets inside that synth is bass. They're all bass presets, even the ones in the other categories, lead, pads, effects. They're all basses, all right? And they were all designed for C3 and between C2 and C4. So 2 octaves I designed them for. I designed them to sound like deep bass. And then I hear people using it and they're playing from C4 and up. and it doesn't sound good to me. I get so frustrated, but they like it, you know. I mean, I don't want to control how people use it because everyone can use it any way they want. But sometimes I almost wish I had limited the synthesizer, just like the Moog Minotaur. I think it's the Minotaur. It has 3 octaves because it's supposed to do bass and nothing else. That was the purpose of Agonizer. Drum computer is a yeah. Drum computer is so heavy, but it's obvious why it is. And you know, a lot of the time as a user, if you don't understand technology and how it works with processors and RAM and how much you have, you see these big specs. You're buying a new computer, so you're seeing, okay, so I have this and that many RAMs, and then you try to run a game and it doesn't run well. It might run bad because of loads of multiple reasons. It's hard. It's the same thing with the game Cyberpunk that I'm playing. A lot of people say, because I am one of the people who are playing it on an old console. So yeah, we are getting it pretty bad with the bugs, and it doesn't look as good. It looks okay for me. I was mostly interested in a new world, a new deep story from a company who's made games that I really enjoy. But yeah, now I'm walking around in this city and I am amazed by how they've been able to put all of this into this world and make it look so real without it crashing completely. And everybody keeps saying it looks awful and stuff, but when you start looking at the details, there's a video out on YouTube saying the amazing details of Cyberpunk. When you look at that video, you start seeing stuff that people are just not noticing, that you don't see in many games. And it's not weird that it's not working on an older console because there's just not enough power to run it. There's not enough. I'm probably gonna have to get a completely new console, a newer gen console, uh, by the time they fix that game, because oh my god, the bugs are really destroying it for me. What are your thoughts about the Korg sync control as an app MIDI clock? I've used that many times, and what I don't like with Korg sync control, for what I didn't like for a long time, is that I haven't been able to load it up inside. I want to be able to use it maybe as an audio unit plugin, or maybe as something. How do I say it? You kind of have to sacrifice an iDevice to use it. You kind of have to sacrifice it. You can't route the audio output to any other channels. That's a problem. So if you want to use, let's say you got AUM, but doesn't AUM have a click now? I can't remember. Does it have a click now? No, it doesn't. Metronome. You could do metronome, but let's say you're using AUM. What I would want to do is to use, maybe like I have an 8-channel output card here, and I want to be able to put out the click on one channel, but there's no way for me to route this Korg sync click output through there. So I have to run MIDI to something else that does sync. You see what I mean? It would be a simple thing, because otherwise I'll take one of my phones. I have 2 of these now, the iPhone 6s. I'll load up Korg sync. I'll sync it up with Ableton Link on the other iPad, and then I can just put this out, from the headphone jack into a pocket operator, and just chain pocket operators and Volcas together if I want. And I can even bring that into and do something with this if I want, right? So that is brilliant. I love that. That works really well. But I'm sacrificing the whole iPhone just to do that. If I want to do anything else, the output is occupied with the click. You know? Toto still popular in Sweden? I know Steve Porcano, Synthmaster, and David Page made a Moog Minotaur and spliced it out. I don't know if Toto is popular in Sweden, actually, anymore. It wasn't really my type of music. Wait, Toto, do you mean are those the guys that made The Boys Are Back in Town or something like that? Is that the one? There has been no, Mikita says, there's been no updates for years, and I think you might be talking about that Korg sync control. There haven't been any updates for that one, at least. I would love it if they could make something new there. Someone could just make that. Africa. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I know which band you mean. I don't know if they're popular though in Sweden right now, but I'm sure they have a lot of fans over here. Loading and playing are also not the same thing. Yeah, when it comes to AUM sessions, absolutely, and that's the thing. I do have some sessions that always crashes when I load them, but once I go in there and start up every app by itself, the session runs pretty smoothly afterwards. So a lot of people would just see it crash and then turn it off and start loading it again. But what they don't realize is that it's trying to initialize everything at once. So if you try to initialize them one by one, it usually works. That's also a thing. Like, yeah, this problem solving thing is something that needs to be like experienced and experimented with and learned along the way. And it's easy to just rely on a saving function, saving loading. But when something goes wrong, what I usually do if a session goes wrong, and if it keeps going wrong, even when I try to do it, by figuring out which one that crashed it, I do that. I will remove apps to see if it runs smoother, and if it does, I try to find a new way of doing it. Yeah, I mean, it's always problem solving with these things. Listen, everyone, I gotta go because I can feel food is coming, so I need to go and eat. I'm happy that we got the stream going today, and I'm really sorry for the technical stuff in the beginning. But most importantly, send CV into my SQ1. Yeah. By the way, Hassan, have you been looking at the before I go, Hassan? Have you been looking at the Korg SQ64? Because that's the one I want. I really want that one. Weezer put out a cover that brought Toto back into people's awareness. About Caustic 3. Okay, thank you, Mikita, for telling me. What was the issue? Dan asks. I've already forgotten what I talked about. I'm so sorry. I have. All right. Okay, Hassan. So I will be getting it. I'll try to get it as soon as I can. I'll probably have to wait by the end of the month to get some Agonizer cash. And when I have that, I'll just go and buy it because I know that the SQ64 is going to come out during January 15 if nothing changes with the release date. So I won't be able to get it right when, and I don't have contacts over at Korg anymore that I can just call up and say, "Hey, send this to me." Maybe I should try to look into that again because that would have been a great thing so I could make some videos about it. But yeah, I'm definitely getting one of those. I think that might be a big solution for me or a start. Bye, Mom. Thank you for checking in. Right, so thank you so much for joining up here at Jakob Live. Even though, despite all of the issues, and it still looked like there was just as many people, tuning in as always, and I'm so happy that you want to do that. The channel reached 1,130 or 50 or subscribers or something, I think, and that's amazing because I mean this channel literally started from scratch not too long ago, and yeah, I don't know, it just feels great. So thank you so much, and stay tuned on my channel, my main channel, because I'm gonna put out a video about some stuff soon. Maybe I should have said more, but I'm still working on the top FX app list, and it looks like this time I'm actually going to have to make a two-part, and I don't like making two parts. Really, I don't. But this time I have to because choosing just 5 out of the over 100 plugins that came out is just not enough. And I want to be able to talk about more apps than just 5. And if I do that in that video, it's going to turn into too long. I want the video not to be longer than 20 minutes or something like that. Feels like I can get some good flow in that. I think the top synthesizer one was what, 17 minutes or something like that. I can't remember, but yeah. Francisco Nunez. Nunez, cabron, I'm sorry, man. You missed the whole thing. I'm ending the stream now, so you missed everything. You missed a big rant about me being angry at a company called B, with a B at the beginning and Erringer at the end. You missed me deciding to get the Korg SQ64 sequencer when that comes out and when I have some Agonizer cache, so I can solve my hardware to iPad syncing issues. And that's it. Pinche, I don't curse. What are you talking about? Me cursing? I'm not cursing. Hermano, calmate. Okay, just easy. I'm not cursing. It's just flavor. It's flavor. It's just flavor language. That's all it is. All right. Fender. Fender. Did I say that? Maybe I said. So Pascal, wait, Pascal, are you the Pascal who helped me on the forum, on the group, iPad group? Is that you that I talk about? Tranquilo, tranquilo, tranquilo. Oh yeah, I do know what that means. Tranquilo, calma, cálmate. Mi hermano, mi esposa. I'm trying to learn my Berfender. Berfender? Yes, Berfender. Oh, okay. So thank you, Pascal, for helping me out. By the way, it made the video so much better. I wasn't sure if I know that the group is public, but since it is Facebook, always feel it's sensitive to show people's real names. That's why I blurred that whole screen, and why I only blurred out the last name for one of the guys in the comment section when I went to the post. I really like just showing people, but every time I take something off Facebook, I know from the past that some people have asked me, like, maybe you should not show me or something like that. So yeah, even though it's an official public group, I won't show people's names. So I just wanted you to get the praise. That's why I said your name. Espanol. Yeah, I've been trying to get my Spanish a little bit more. I've been learning loads. I've been watching this documentary. It's called Narcos. There are 3-part series of Narcos on Netflix. It's a great documentary. Great documentary. It goes into the language of Latin. If you want to learn Latin, you should watch Narcos. You'll talk Latin in no time. Latin. You learn how to say Mexico in the right way, for instance. That's good. That's good. And you learn to swear a lot. That's one thing I learned. You definitely learn how to swear a lot. Ugh, I know all the curses now. All the curses. Maybe I should make that episode. All the curses I know in Spanish. Goodbye, everyone. Jakob haQ from Jakob haQ Live. I'm out. That was the end of the stream. That was literally it. So now I'm just gonna close shop. I'll begin with this. I'll turn this off. Check on this thing a little bit. Salud. 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 Soluble. It's soluble in water. Oil is not soluble in water because of its atomic properties. I almost said it doesn't mix well. The plus and the minuses don't want to have relations with each other, with oil and water. So they kind of they do this thing together, like they do that, but they won't do that. Water and oil. Nope. I learned that in school somewhere, sometime in the past. I also learned that space is big. That's cool. I love that. I love that space is big. I also learned, for instance, in my biology class, I learned something. I learned stuff about no, no, no. Never mind. Uh, oh, there was this one thing. What was it? I'm trying to lure all of you into a sense of security here, where you feel like the stream just keeps on going and then suddenly it just cuts off. I kind of like trolling you like that, and it's okay if you're angry with me for doing it like that. But just I only troll the people I love. That's one way of getting away with trolling people, just telling them that you love them. But of course, you shouldn't tell them that that's what you're doing, because then it becomes apparent. And uh, you, honesty is a good thing, but sometimes when you want to troll people, honesty is a very bad thing. It's not good. Emulsion. It's called emulsion. Wait, emulsion? Is it called emulsion? Uh, Mayonnaise and totar? Tinctures. Mayonnaise? Hasta luego. I'm saying everything that you're saying here. No, any time now. The stream could just end at any time.